That's why I'm Katie blowing high like Arizona, blowing them 3-5s. I'm missing all my amigos on this Cinco, RIP 5. Even when I'm hurt, I tell myself that I'm gonna be fine.
We are here at Rello Mello's garden. And give you a quick little update today. We are 2 weeks into our new grow here, exiting the seedling stage, going full on to veg. And right here we have a compost tea that's been brewing for, I'd say, around 20 hours. You want to have these brew anywhere from maybe 16 to 24 hours. I like around the 20-ish hour mark. So since I got this compost tea going, I guess I'll give a little breakdown over some of the new nutrients I've picked up. I'm gonna try to lean a little more on the organic side with this one. We'll see what happens come flower, but veg should be pretty organic. To start, it's still right here. We use molasses whenever I use a compost tea. It doesn't have to be the black strap. It just needs to be unsulfured molasses. And what this does is provide a source of sugar for the microbes to eat. The main point of this compost tea, as our plants have been getting adjusted to the pots, I've noticed I maybe let the soil dry back a little bit much for a little longer than I should have, so that probably affected some of the microbial life in there. So the goal with this is to just give it an extra shot of microbes, basically repopulate the space so it can help break down the different organic nutrients that we've mixed into the soil, some of which we are also using in the tea that we're about to go over. Here y'all can see pretty much everything that I like to use or everything that I will be using that might get used, whatever nutrient lineup we got here. I'll start down here at the bottom. It'll be the more essential stuff for now. All this will definitely help us out during this veg stage. Some of it'll be for flower. But starting with the plant tone, I think we've kind of went over this before. It was the first Espoma product I've bought. This will now be my second run using it. It's got all this different microbial stuff to help break down the organic nutrients in here. You can again see the NPK ratio and all the stuff they use to make up the nutrients. And there is some water soluble nutrients in here as well, as you can see. So with the water soluble stuff, as we let it sit there and marinate in the compost tea that we had growing out there, it will allow for our plants to have a more instant shot of nutrients. Then some new stuff we've got from Espoma again. This will be our first time using these. We've got their bone meal and their biotone. We'll come back to the bone meal, but for the biotone, we've also added this in the compost tea. It's also got mycorrhizae in it. This biotone does. You can see down there. Plus the rest of their little microbial units. And it's got a similar NPK ratio. We've got some water-soluble nitrogen and magnesium. And then, of course, the other stuff that'll have to break down. It won't be as beneficial from the tea, but in soil it will be. Lastly, just a little bit of extra alfalfa meal. I need to find some kelp meal. I kind of forgot to look for it while I was out grabbing this stuff, because these really already have alfalfa meal in them. What it looks like they are missing is the kelp meal, or not missing, I guess they work as they are, but I would like to have some kelp just for the added benefits of it. Now we'll come back to the bone meal. As you guys can see, it's got a pretty high phosphorus rating or ratio, which will be good for flour. It's not really anything water soluble in here, so it's not just gonna instantly be ready from sitting in water like the other two we went over. All this has to break down over time. So what we did with this bone meal here, and this is sort of something that I'm new with. I'm trying it for the first time here. We'll pop this open. What I've got in here is just some of the soil reused from our last little run with these. And I'm going to get some smaller pots. These are like, I think when I looked at them, they were like 12 or 14 inches in diameter. I'm going to drop this pot size down to like 10 and a half. But we've got enough soil here probably for 4 2.5 to 3 gallon pots, whatever I find. Then we mixed in, I think, 7 tablespoons of the bone meal and maybe 1.5 cups of the biotone and 1.5 cups of the plant tone and just a little sprinkling of the alfalfa, I think. So the goal here is to, over time, I probably could have started this a little earlier, but we just didn't have it set up yet. But the goal is to, over time, allow the microbial life to start breaking the stuff in here down. It's all thoroughly mixed together. So we shouldn't need anything to move it around. Like outdoors, you'll have like bugs and stuff that move stuff around. All that's good. We just need the microbes and stuff and watering the soil to help break all the stuff down. Because bone meal, from what I can see looking up, you really don't get the best effects of it until after a little while of it breaking down. And this will probably only be in here for like a week or two before we do transplant the plants using this. But they will be in veg for probably another 3 to 4 weeks after we transplant them. Then we'll flip them to flower. And that'll be like around a month. So hopefully, maybe a little over a month. It might be 1.5 months to 2 months of it just sitting in here baking, allowing everything to break down. So hopefully that bone meal will be very much ready for it by then. And a little bit more of the plant tone and biotone might be used up. So then the only thing that I will be worried about is, if we come back to the bone meal, is that low potassium on it. So I think what I might do is also go out and get the Espoma organic tomato. It's a liquid fertilizer, their organic liquid tomato fertilizer. It's a 131, so it's still heavy on the phosphorus and pretty light on the potassium, but I think this little setup should be enough to get us where we want to be at. If not, if I think I notice anything, then I guess we'll supplement with a small doses of this during flower of the more bloom. You'll see here now we've harvested our old run. It's old clumps of dirt there. But this is the tent, so you guys can see that our plant should be in. But unfortunately, I think like a pipe got kind of backed up, and it led to this whole ceiling leaking. It just about stopped where I had the soil set up. I think this one up closest might have got a little damaged, so I'm wary about using more of that. But I think this stuff over here should be good. But yeah, it was a whole bunch of basically raining down here from the pipe being all janked. And what that did was water got in these little power strips here. And I think these are, for the most part, the only stuff that really got damaged, because mostly everything was plugged into this, while this digital timer one was plugged into the basic one. So I can see that cord there, and where we had the tent a little up here, this didn't reach, so this extended it and everything was kind of plugged into this, which does have a good surge protection type thing in it. I think this one does as well. So I think that's the only thing that kind of saved all of our stuff from frying. I did take some of the lights out of the tent. I took 2 of them out. They still work. I'm hoping they're not dimmed or anything, but they seem just as bright. So I'm assuming this one still works. I took a couple of the fans. They still work. So I'm assuming these 2 still work. This one wasn't plugged in, so it should be good. And I'm pretty sure the humidifier is still good. So we will have this set back up pretty soon. Alrighty, on account of what we just went over with the tent, I've got these back over here in our little makeshift space. Probably could have been watered a little more recently, but we've got the tea ready for them now. See a little leaf floating around in there. I still think this little small one here of the NF sheesh, I guess this is the NF sheesh number 2. It looks a little better, but as I was saying, I might have wanted to transplant it with this second one that we already went over how this happened. Accidentally got 2 seeds planted in this pot basically. So I'm thinking, is this second one here looks better than this one? So I'm thinking I still might pull this out of here and place it in here. And hopefully, since this got mycorrhizae in it from the plant tone, it'll be gentle with the transplant. They are now 2 weeks old, day 14 here. These are the ice coats back here. Already, as y'all can see, I went ahead and swapped out the 2 different little NF sheesh. We've got the little more runtish looking one. Runt as in small, less developed, slower over here in this little smaller container. Then we brought the double from over here, stuck it over here. This one I did not do as good a job as pulling it out. I took a lot of roots, so it probably is going to be somewhat stressed out starting, or it probably got a week or 2 that is going to be kind of stressed out. This one I did a little better job with, but it's still the slower plant, plus it did get the transplant. So I'm gonna hold out on doing anything to this NF sheesh number 2 and this one that will be taken outdoors. I guess we'll call it number 3. So with topping, we come over here to the NF sheesh cross number 1. Just want to find that very top point, and we'll kind of grasp it. I have big old meaty fingers. It's harder for me to grit it, but something like that. Now that'll help some of these lower node sites. You can kind of see them little pieces popping up, start to sprout out of there. This is one of the smaller heights that I've topped plants, but I'm always trying new stuff. I'm still fairly new with the whole growing thing, so it's worth it to get different things going. We'll repeat that there, and lastly we'll repeat it over here. There we go. But before we get on out of here, don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button. If you haven't yet, do subscribe to the channel. Lots and lots to come. Like I said, we'll soon be grabbing a new batch of seeds. I know we'll be getting the nanas, and I'm leaning towards the lung buster strain from Soulfire Gardens, but we might get something different. But right now we're gonna go with the lung buster and nanas. Other than that, so this is Rello Mellow Garden, and I'm out.